Double record. So hello everyone. Glad you've joined this live session. In this session, okay. So first, I think I would share the screen. Okay, so let's share the screen. So in this live session, we're gonna create a new tour in GoThru, and then we're gonna moderate it and publish it to Google. Now that's GoThru core, and that's what GoThru is doing the best. Besides the virtual tours that you can create and all the other tools that we have. So I have shot, I think, at the beginning of October, Tichenor Hyundai, which is a car dealership. Hello. Which is a car dealership, and gonna go ahead and create that new listing in GoThru. First we click on Constellation, then create new tour, and since this is a business, we're gonna choose Google Business. Put the business name in. Also, as a note, if you for some reason you cannot find the business, you can use the find CAD. Find CAD will let's say, yeah, Google sometimes doesn't display the business when we search in here. And find CAD, we can use the Google My Business page, this page. You just copy it, go to the find CAD page, paste it, and then click get CAD, and that will give you the CAD, and you can use that to create the tour in GoThru. So you just paste the CAD and hit create new tour, and also in some cases you might not have the CAD but the place ID, and in case the place ID you can put a hashtag and then the place ID. So let's go ahead with the name, click, and then create a new tour, and already have the images stitched. I'm shooting with a DSLR. Older guy that was trained by Google back in 2012 and stuck with the DSLR. And I'm just gonna drag and drop the images into GoThru, and we're gonna upload it. Now, it's worth mentioning that the images have to be at least this size, because if they are lower, Google will not accept them. Now in GoThru, we have a function that allows you to resize, to upscale the images. Now the quality is not going to be very good, but the images will publish. So let's click done and check if the images are in GoThru. Everything seems in GoThru. And now we're gonna go back to the tools section, and we're gonna click desktop moderator. Now we've launched the mobile editor, street editor, and that's a really cool new way to moderate on the phone, on the go. But yeah, it's good also the desktop, so the good old desktop. We're gonna open the desktop, and the images are put random on the map on the correct location. Now, as I was saying, there are two ways people are moderating using GoThru. most of the people are just placing the panoramas on the map and then creating paths. To me, I don't think that's one of the most the best way to create connections. And actually, I'm not using the map almost at all till the end of my moderation. So let's go ahead. This is my first panel. Now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna position the red line where the next panel is, and in this particular case I can click on unconnected. So on the right side we have the unconnected panoramas and a little preview here, and we can take a look down and see, okay, where we are, and then we position the red line to where this panel is. And then we can either drag and drop it here, or we just double click it. And we're gonna try to match the features that are near the red line. So this seems to be the same, I think, electrical pole here. That's very close there. And once we're done, we're gonna click W or the arrow. Now, I love to use the keyboard when creating these connections, so I'm just gonna click W. Now, the first connection, I usually don't tackle too much with it. So I'm just creating that connection, and then I'm coming back to it. Because you see, if I'm looking back, the red line should fall in the same place, but it doesn't. Like once the red line from panel 2 is on the house, on the window, and then when it's between these three. Anyway, so I'm not playing too much with the first connection. And the reason is because the connection cannot be locked, the first connection. And locking connection is very important in GoThru. Now, the third panel is a little bit further, and you're gonna notice this P. So P, it's from preview. So that's the panel that you're gonna see here. So if I'm clicking here, that's what P stands for. It's preview. We're gonna double click on panel number 3 and try to match the features. We have it. Now, one thing is that you can lower the opacity of the overlay image. So it's how you prefer it. Usually I think it's about 7-8. That's where I like it. So again, we're gonna match the image in the back with the image on the top. So the features in the image, in both images around the red line, are similar. And in this case, it's similar, and I'm gonna click W. Now, the keys that I'm clicking, you can easily access them and see them either by clicking the Help button or pressing H on the keyboard. And then we have all the keys that we support in the moderator. So if you forget, you just click on the Help, and then you can remind yourself the keys. Okay, so now we have created 2 connections, and we can start locking connections. So for that, like, you can lock a connection by right click on the map and then unlock it the same way, right click, or you can press C on the keyboard. So when I'm pressing C, you see it's connected. Now, we don't have an unlock on the keyboard, so if you want to unlock something, you just have to go and on the map and click right click of the button. So we have this connection, and now we can go and fix connection 2 and 1. So again, the red line falls in here, clicking on W, it falls on the house. So I'm just gonna drag the red line to fall where actually I am in the next Pano number 1, and then I'm pressing the Q key on the keyboard, and the Q key is I think the one of the most important keys, because look what's happening on the map when I'm pressing Q. Basically, the arrow gets aligned with the red line, so you don't have to manually position the panels on the map. Now we have this position, click W, you see it moves. Like I fell like here, like when I'm here with the red line on the house, and actually in this panel I'm on the edge of the house, so I have to move it even a bit more further. So there is a dance that we have to do with aligning the images. So I'm pressing Q again, the panel moved a bit more, and then I see it's keep going to the right. Now we don't do this like align again, but we need to do it from the other side, so from 1 to 2. So we're gonna once we are on Pano number 1, we're gonna want to go and look at Pano number 2. Now we can go and rotate like this, but it's not nice to do that, so many rotations. So we're gonna click F. F stands from flip. I'm gonna click F, and that's gonna rotate me with 180 degree. Okay, and we're gonna click again W. Now W and S are used in 3D games where you can navigate around the space. If you played some games, you know that. So again, W, S, W, S, and you see it's falling in the wrong place. Once you learn this, that's the only thing basically you have to learn. Once you learn this, you're just gonna fly. Like for me, like if I'm just doing this moderation without explaining, 17 panels, it's probably take me about 7 to 8 minutes. So it's really fast. I'm just gonna so W, okay, it's on that car, so align red line, Q, W, S. So now I'm falling perfectly on that car. Flip, W, S, move, Q again, W, S, flip, W, S, Q. So now after we do it like 2 or 3 dances like this, everything is aligned. Now, not all the time you're gonna have to do that, but in some of the panels you will do it. And we fixed the connection between 1 and 2, and then now we can fix the connection between 2 and 3. So I'm gonna align Q, flip, bit move, Q, flip, and I think we are good. Yeah, so we're gonna lock C. Okay. So now this is the most important, like the first 2, and then now when I'm shooting, I'm trying to always maintain the same angle, so because that will help me moderating. So I'm always, in this particular case, I'm always starting, let's say, with that direction, and even when I'm going inside the store, I'm gonna shot in that direction. Double click on 4. No, okay, so the panel, it's on the other side, so I'm just gonna remove the panel from the overlay, go back and double click on 4, overlay. You see that big 3 in the back, W, flip, W, position, Q, W, flip, W, back, position, Q, W, flip, W, back like S, position a bit, Q, flip, Q. So now we have these two panels connected. Now, one thing is when you use this type of connection, GoThru will position each panorama at 3 meters apart. So between 1 and 2, 3 meters, 2 and 3, 3 meters, and so on. Now we can adjust the distances at the end or when there is a loop that we have to do, but there is no need to change the distances between the panel at this stage of the moderation. And now 5 is a bit further down this. Double click, position something like this here, W, flip, W, back, Q, W, flip, W. So now we align them and we're gonna lock with C. From this point I went in that direction, so double click, position, W, flip, W, S, back. So it's the second black car. It's just a bit Q, W, flip. It's a bit on the right side of this. So back and then somewhere here. Q, W, flip, W, back, S, Q. So now I think I have a good alignment and I'm gonna click C. And I think, yeah, the next is straightforward. So double click, align the features, W, flip, W, align a bit, Q, W, flip, F, W, S. So this is correct. And now going through the door, double click. You see, if I'm maintaining the same angle, the panels will be already aligned, so I don't have to rotate this left and right. W, flip, W. This is almost perfect. Just gonna say okay, Q, C, and I went there. Double click and align, W, flip, W. It's good, perfect. So I don't have to do too much. C, then I went in that direction. W, position, yeah, W, flip, W. It's on that window, so I have to put on the window. Q, W, flip, W. So now I'm falling on this. Just move it. W, no, Q, W, F, Q. No, they are perfect. So another thing that you will notice is back in 2012, Google taught us to shoot in the line of sight and not to have obstacles between panoramas. Oh, the door is open. I'm not shooting through a closed door. Similar here. So now, after almost 10 years of shooting 360, I start learning how to open these doors and how to do all kind of things like that. So I just navigate, and the next panel is here. So you see, I'm not concerning that I'm going over this. I'm just gonna take care at the end. So double click on 11, position, W, F from flip, W, S, position a bit, Q, W, flip, W, S, and flip. Now, you don't have to be that perfect as I am, but I like things to be like in the same direction perfectly, but it's not necessary. Now double click on the 12 and position around the red line, W, flip, W, S from back, and Q to align everything perfect. A bit more here, Q, flip, perfect, lock. Now the thing is, if you do not lock the connections, when you use the Q, it will skew up your constellation in the back. That's how we've implemented the Q. It's just gonna skew everything in the back. So you have to make sure you create this connection. You lock the connections. Now we're gonna double click on 13 and okay, yeah, so that's the direction. W, F from flip, W, S, align, and then Q. Perfect, flip, perfect. So we're just gonna lock. And now the next one is, I think, around this. Okay, so it's, I think, somewhere there. Yeah. Double click, align. Now in this particular case, you see the lines have to be parallel, so the lines of the window. W, flip, W, S from back, Q, W, flip, W, perfect. So you always have to check both directions. And then now we lock with C. Flip, and then I think next one is here. Align, W, flip, W, S, back, like going back, Q, flip, perfect. And yeah, I think the next one is somewhere here. Oh, we're gonna have 16, yeah, double click. Orientate, so the line are parallel, and then W, flip, W, falling on this, Q, W, flip, W, perfect. C to lock. And now I'm just gonna return to the door. So W, double click, W, flip, W, S, now orient, and Q, W, flip on F, perfect. Okay, so now we've moved all the panels from the right side into the left side. Left side is where the panoramas are connected. We're gonna expand. You can use E or just press the expand, and we can zoom out and let's see the satellite. Okay, so you see this is where the street is, and our Pano number 1 is here. So we're gonna return back to the map. We can select with shift and left mouse. We can select everything and rotate. Since everything is connected in here, is locked, there is no need to select, because you can just rotate one and it will rotate around it, or we can just drag one and move it. because everything is connected. But if things will not be connected, we have to go with the select, shift and left mouse, and then we can move and rotate the whole thing. So we're gonna try now to scale up everything. So we're gonna select and just scale up the whole thing. I think this is the one, yeah. So something like this, scale up, zoom out. Okay, something like that. Now we can start looking into these connections. Now probably I shouldn't have scaled up so much because the distance inside the store were correct. So what I'm gonna do is Control Z. So GoThru supports Control Z, and then I'm just Control Z, undo everything that I've done to the point where I'm here. And all I have to do is basically make the distance between 2 and 1 bigger. So I'm just gonna 2, position the panel here on the line, unlock the link between 1 and 2, and then just drag this and make sure that you see here on the map the red line falls on the arrow, and then that's it. And then I'm pressing C, and then I'm just gonna do that with with number 4, I think. The same. Yeah, something like this. And lock, and the same for this, expand a bit. Now we will want number 17, which is the exit from the store, to be on the same line with number 4. So we're gonna extend the distance between 4 and 5 till these two are gonna be like this. Yeah? So okay, I was not looking in that direction, so I'm just gonna undo, look in that direction, and now expand and position. Let's see, and now I'm just gonna drag between the 5 and 6. So we have the connection between 17 and 4. Just drag 6, something like this. See, and then now we can go ahead and connect 4 and 17, which is perfect. Well, so this is how you deal with the loop, and we do it after we created all the connections. So we're gonna lock that panel, and then we're gonna expand the whole thing and maybe rotate a bit. And I think that's pretty much all regarding creating the connection. Now, in this case, this is a dealership, and there are people around, and Google would like to have the faces of these people blur. And the GoThru Moderator supports a blurring tool, and you can access it by pressing B. And when you press B, you'll notice that we don't display the sphere anymore. You display a 2D version of the panel. Now, the reason we display the 2D version is because when we've implemented, it was easier for us to create an to draw on a 2D image than to draw on a spherical image. Now, a feature like one thing that you probably notice is that my images are pretty high quality, but the moderator is dumbing down the images. Like it's the images, they don't look too good in the moderator. Now the reason because of this is we wanted the moderator to be fast. And for the moderator to be fast, we choose to work inside the moderator with a lower image quality. But now I have to blur. And if I'm going in 2D and I'm pressing Shift and Z, it's pretty hard to detect these faces. So we said, okay, let's go ahead and increase the resolution. But this resolution is just for, okay, we have someone joining. Hi, Kathleen. So in this case, the resolution is just for the blurring mode. Like we should have written in here that the resolution increase is just for the blurring mode. And if you now you see the images take slower to load. And I'm gonna click Shift Z, and it's a big difference between what's right now and now. And we're just gonna blur this faces. Like Shift Z to access the zoom function, and then with left click you can blur, create the square around. Now you're gonna see like, okay, you choose high quality and it's very slow loading. What you can do is you press the brackets. The brackets will quickly take you through all the images. So I'm just pressing the brackets and you're gonna see it's moving me. Now that requests the server for the image. So the images, while you're blurring in one image, the images will download in the background for all the others. So then you don't need to wait anymore. Yeah, so this image is loaded. Shift Z and blur. And we can do the same for the cars. Now, I like to navigate by clicking the W and S and the A and D, like in games. So that's why you don't see me clicking on these arrows. So Shift Z, blur, W, and Shift Z. So that's how you blur inside the moderator. And okay, so basically we are done with this. All we have to do is save, and then if we go to the tool section, reload, you're gonna see the panoramas are connected, and we can just go ahead and publish to Google. There are a few things that worth mentioning is you can blur now and then preview and see if you're happy with the blur. But usually I'm not doing that. The GoThru knows, okay, there is blurring on those images. So when you go to Google and you publish, so when you go to Google and publish, it checks first that there is blurring, and if there is blurring, it's gonna apply first the blurring, and then it's gonna publish the images to Google. Yeah. So right now the tool is in the queue for GoThru to publish it. Here we have this queue where it takes the tours can be in that queue for about 2 minutes. So every 2 minutes we push everything that's in the queue. So, and the way the progress bar, what the progress bar means is, so when it's 0 like this, is just like waiting, and then you'll see the progress bar going up till about 90%. When it reached the 90%, that means we finished uploading all the images to Google. And the next step is doing an update. So Google, the way the Google API works is you upload and then you have to do an update to the connections, levels, and all that. So when it reaches 90%, between 90%, you're gonna see a jump directly from 90% to 100, and that's when we finished uploading the tour. Now, once the tour is published to Google, you can check the health of the tour. So let's go to a tour that's finished, published. Okay, so this is actually the same tour. It was published with Alina's account. She's my partner in business, in live, and we go very well together. And this is the tour that I published originally, and we're gonna click on SV info. And SV info stands for Street View Info, and it's basically a debugging window that will check the health of the images on Google, because we publish, but the Google might do something else. And the way I'm seeing the Google API is like, in how Google processes everything on their side is like weather. Like sometimes it's sunny and the links show up in 2 hours. Everything is published correctly. Levels show up. And sometimes it's like cloudy, and then it's raining, and the whole thing, the system is not working properly. And there can be different issues. Currently, I think for the last 5 months, we went through these issues that were for about 2 weeks. The publishing works perfectly, like within the 2 days, like that's what Google says, 2 days, 48 hours. And then for another 2 weeks, they accumulate this kind of delay. It seems like they have a pipe, and then this pipe gets clogged with tours, and then it takes longer for the navigation to show up, and this wait extends to about like 10 days. And then when it reaches about 10 days, someone on Google will say, okay, it's time to unclog the pipe, and then they do something, and then tours publish again correctly. Now, I have contacts on Google site and talked with them about this issue. They say, okay, we are working on a fix. The devs are working on a fix, and hopefully sometime, but we don't know when, and if actually they are working. Hopefully they are working, I don't know. But yeah, that's what's happening. So you see already we are uploading the images, and we are pushing these images pretty fast. It's gonna take us about 10 minutes to publish a whole tour. So that's, I think, pretty much about publishing to Street View. And I think there are a few more hacks that you can learn regarding publishing to Street View that you might be interested. So one thing is, Google does not allow us to select the starting panel and to select the starting angle of a panel that they display in here. Now, if you want to have a control over that, you can do it from so go to this tour. Now, on the Google page, you can unselect, And let's say I want only the, actually this is a different, this is a different store, but it doesn't matter. So you unselect by clicking on the Google page, unclicking the panels that you do not want, and then you publish. And when you publish, the connection will be still there, but the tour will start only with Pano number 11. So that's how you can control the starting panel. The starting angle, unfortunately, there is no hack. There used to be a hack where you could orient either the constellation to face north or use the centering tool that we have in GoThru. And that will Google will choose the center of the image, but that's not working anymore. The algorithm that they have on their side picks that angle for us, and try to find the solution, try to find the logic behind that algorithm, that I couldn't find it. So I think that's as much as we could say about publishing to Street View. There are a few things I would say. Back in the day, Google used to connect the Street View car images with our tours. After 2017, they said that yes, position the first panel within 5 meters from the Street View car, and then we will automatically connect. That used to work for about 2 years, till 2019, but after that I haven't seen it working anymore. Now we've asked Google, like, okay, can we actually do that connection? And they say no, you cannot, because we want to have control. We always update the images on the street, and we would like to have that link dynamic. So yeah, if they went and created in 2017 something, and then in 2020 another, like, they wanted this link between the store and their Street View to be automatically updated by them. But if we would have hard coded somehow the link, then the tour would have been stuck with 2016. Anyway, so something went wrong on their side, and they decided that, okay, it's not working and we're not gonna do that anymore. So we don't have that connection. And I know it was a nice feature, yeah, but it's not possible anymore. Yeah, so I hope you've learned something new today from this tutorial. And yeah, if you have any questions, please let me know. You can write in the chat or just unmute yourself, and looking forward to hear any questions that you might have. Okay, so seems that everyone has no questions. So everyone understood everything. There are no questions. Okay, so you'd like to, hi Andre, so you would like to use the metadata of your files. So in that case, like, Google is not using any of your metadata. Now, GoThru does update metadata of the files with the lat long and heading, but Google will not use, like, the metadata in your images for any search engine optimization and anything like that. But in case you want to keep that data, you can do so. And on the publishing page, click advanced, and then by default we remove the EXIF data. You can uncheck this, click OK, and then you will we will not wipe the EXIF data. Now the reason we are removing the EXIF data is because we found cases where things basically were not working properly on Google side, and we couldn't understand what was happening, and we said, okay, let's have a standard for all our images. We just wipe the EXIF data, and then we haven't seen issues where we could not explain what we are seeing on Google. So that is the reason we are removing the metadata and nothing else. But again, if you want to keep the data, you can do so. Just remove that, click OK, and publish to Google. Okay. Yeah. So under advanced, there are a few more things. You can, if you do not want your images to be associated with the business, you can unassociate the images by just unclicking that. Some people don't want the levels, so you just say, okay, I don't want the levels. Now, by default, we are removing the altitude of an image, but you can ask for the altitude to be retained. Now, we found that the altitude, it's not very fun inside the business, because you just like get this going up and down inside the business. Is not very appealing. But if you are publishing outside images in a park or something like that, that might be okay. Yep. So that's the advanced tab. Okay. So yeah, if you have any questions, let me know. Okay, so okay, how to delete tour published before 2007? Do customers have to do that themselves via the Google account? So hi Mark. So that's a tricky question. So let me explain what happened with the 2017 panoramas. When Google created and added the businesses to Google Maps, they've talked with Yelp and stuff like that, got a bulk data of businesses, and created those businesses on the Google Maps. Now, because that creation of the business of the Google Maps was automated, they've created a special Gmail account that no one has access to that account. And that is the mother and of a Google My Business page. Now, when a tour, like if you remember, before 2017, we were publishing to Google directly, like through their moderator. The images were under our name, but the contract that Google provided us was, they were saying that the images do not belong to us, they belong to the business. So, and when they switched the business model to where the images belong to us, they had to respect the contract we've signed with the businesses. So they are moving like all those images, the old images, to the business owner account. But it's not exactly the business owner account, it's the original email account that Google created when they created the Google My Business page. and no one has access to that. So it's like, okay, how do you delete the images? Because the business owner doesn't have access, you don't have access, so how do you delete it? What Google says is you have to publish new images, and after the new images have been published, you go to the tour and you click on the three dots, click on report the problem, select other, and in here you say please delete this image. That you go to an image from 2017 and you say please delete this image because it's old and does not reflect the current status of the business. Now, if you haven't uploaded new images, Google will not delete the old images because they prefer to have something old and not accurate than nothing. But if you've published the new images, I think the review team will take about 3 to 4 weeks, at least that's what they're saying, and then delete. Now, I've heard cases where they haven't deleted. So in that case, you just report again. You ask the business owner to do the same thing, to report those old images. And probably eventually they will delete it. But yeah, that's how you can deal with images that no one has access to them. And that's the case also for there is another photographer shot, you don't have access to those images. In the same way, you have to publish the new images, request, and have Google delete them. Okay, any other questions? Okay, so yeah, if there are no other questions, then we will stop the live session, and yeah, we'll have this on YouTube, and it will be on Facebook also if you want to review it and visit it again. And yeah, looking forward to see you in the next future session. Thank you for joining today. Bye.